For today's math lesson, we're going to be talking about number models. You can see here I have three things that we're going to be talking about. First off, we're going to talk about how you can identify a plus sign and an equal sign. So after we get done, you'll be able to point out what does a plus sign look like as well as what does an equal sign look like. Second thing here, that you're going to be able to identify a number model. So you'll be able to tell me what is a number model, what is not a number model. And then the last thing that we're going to practice is actually having you guys create your own number models as well as solve them. So let's get started. First thing we're going to talk about is being able to recognize a plus sign. You can see here I got a bunch of black symbols on the screen. I want you to point to which one you think is a plus sign. So point on the screen, which one do you think is a plus sign? If you said this one, you need to try one more time. If you said this one, not quite. If you said this one, not so much. But if you said this one right here in the middle, you'd be correct. This is what we would call a plus sign, this little symbol right here that's got a line that goes up and down and a line that crosses it going sideways. That's what we call a plus sign. So this symbol right here in the middle, this is a plus sign, and we're going to explore a little bit about the plus sign and what does it mean. So to get started, you can see here I have some presents because everybody likes to get a present. So I've got a pink one and I got a blue one here. So what I can do is I can take this pink one and I can take a blue one, and by putting the plus sign in here, it means that we're going to combine these two together to see how much we have. So we could think about, let's do this since it's pink, we could say these are the girls' presents and the blue are the boys' presents, and we want to see how much do the girls and the boys have all together. So to do this, we would use a plus sign. Plus sign means that you're going to make things bigger. Now the one problem with this is I have a plus sign, but the one thing that you need in order to complete a number model is you actually need an equal sign. And that's something that we're going to talk about too. You can see we don't have an equal sign here, so that's the next thing that we need to talk about is what does an equal sign look like? We already identified what is a plus sign, and you know that it's a line that goes up and down and then it gets crossed in the middle with a line going sideways. That is a plus sign. And again, a plus sign, you need to remember, always makes things bigger. Okay, so let's talk about an equal sign, and then we'll come back and try and figure out what would the answer be if the girls had one present and the boys had one present. And I'm sure you guys might know, but let's go on and talk about an equal sign. So just like before, I want you to see if you can figure out where is that equal sign that is on this page. Go ahead and point to where's that equal sign that you see. If you think this one, it's not quite that one, although this one right here is that cent sign that we have been talking about, but that is not going to be an equal sign. The symbol that is actually an equal sign or an equal symbol, we could call it both things, is this one that's right here again in the middle, and it's actually got two lines that go sideways. We would say these are two parallel lines. Parallel just means that they don't cross over each other. So for example, a parallel line would be two lines that don't cross each other. For example, this would not be parallel because the two lines are crossing, but this symbol in the middle, that is an equal sign. That equal sign just lets us know what is the actual answer. So after the equal sign, it's going to tell us what is the answer, but more importantly, equal means that it means the same. So equal means that what's on one side is equal to what's on the other side, and that might be kind of confusing, so we're going to practice a few problems and explain what that means. So back to our problem. Earlier you saw we had girls had one present, boys had one present, and we wanted to combine these together and see how much they had together. So that's why we decided to use a plus sign. So you can see here I got pink plus one blue for the boys. Now that we've talked about our equal sign, now we can figure out what is the answer. So those of you that said 2, you are correct for our answer. Now this equal sign, remember I said equal sign tells us what is on one side is the same as what is on the other side. So to make that more clear, this part that I just circled in red is equal, which means it's the same thing as what is on the left. Okay, so even though they're not stacked on top of each other or have a plus sign in between them, what's on the left over here, the pink plus the blue, there's 2, and that's saying that it equals 2. Even though this one will be written as 1 plus 1, the equal sign just lets us know that what is on both sides, they are equal, which means they're the same. So let's try another problem here. Let's get rid of that big box. So let's pretend that the girls, since they're doing so good, they got 2 presents. So we'll give the girls 2 presents. And then we're going to put a plus sign. And we're going to figure out how much did the boys get. So the boys, we'll just give them 1 for right now. We'll see how many they can earn here in a little bit. But you can see I've got 2 pink presents and 1 blue present. Now this is not a complete number model because I don't have the equal sign. That's important. You have to have an equal sign. And this is still not a complete number model because I don't have an answer on the other side of my equal sign. You can see that I have 2 pink and 1 blue, but what does that equal altogether? So I had 2 pink and I had 1 blue. So we would say that this is 1, 2, 3. So our answer over here is 3, and we would say 2 plus 1 equals 3. So our equal sign again tells us that 3, which is written right here, is the same thing as 2 plus 1. Even though 2 plus 1 does not look like the number 3, if you add 2 plus 1, it actually gives you 3. So let's practice. If you can tell me which of these is a number model, which one do you see on this page that is a number model? So I want you to point to it. If you said the one in the middle, you're correct. Now the reason this is a number model is that it has a plus sign, it has an equal sign, and it has an answer. So it's saying that 4 plus 2 is the same thing as the number 6. Up here, 4 and then a number sign and 2, it does have an equal sign, but we're missing the plus sign. The plus sign should be in the middle. This one, 4 plus 2, that is not a number model because it does not have an equal sign, so we don't know what the answer is. And then the last two obviously are not number models. Now, one thing that we can do to make this a little more clear is we are always going to have a number that we start with. We're always going to change by a certain number, and we want to know what do we have at the very end. So I'm going to give you some problems to think about here, and I need you to be thinking. You're going to be counting, and we're going to play some instruments. So I have some instruments here. I have a guitar, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to play a string on the guitar. Okay. So you're going to have to count how many times I strum a string on the guitar. So let's practice. Okay, so think, how many times did I just strum it? If you said 2, you're correct. So I'm going to put the number 2 here because we started with 2 strums. Now we're going to add, that's why there's a plus sign, we're going to change it and make it bigger. We're going to add a few more strums. So count in your head. Okay, so think in your head, how many did we just strum this time? If you said 3, you're correct. Now the answer is what comes after the equal sign, and we have to figure out what does 2 plus 3 equal. And the plus sign goes in the middle to tell us that we're adding 3. We started by strumming the guitar 2 times, and then I strummed it 3 more times. So how many times did I strum it all together? So if you think about this, here's 1, 2, and then I had here was 3. And together, if we counted them, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So the answer, what we end up with, is 5. Now this is a chart that can help us solve it. We start with 2, we change it by 3, we end up with 5. So same thing here, I could write it just like this. 2 plus 3 equals 5. And again, this is what we call a number model. You're combining 2 numbers, and we know that we're making them bigger because we're adding with the plus sign. And it ends up giving us a result of 5. Okay, so let's try a few others now that you kind of got the hang of it. Let's get rid of some of our writing here so we can start fresh with a brand new one. Same thing, I'm going to strum the guitar, and then I want you to count in your head, and then we'll keep track of it using this chart. Okay, so that one would have been 3 that we started with. Now I want you to listen again. So I just strummed it once. So I want you to think in your head, how much does that equal? 3 plus 1. So we have 1, 2, 3, and then 1 here. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. The answer would be 4. I think we have time for maybe 2 more. Let's see if we can get through a couple more. So listen what we're going to start with. Okay, so think in your head, how many times did I strum it? If you said 4, you're correct. Now let's add to it. Let me go back and add some more. So if you said 3, you're correct. So our number model, we started with 4. We're going to add 3. That's why we have a plus sign. Now we need to figure out what do we have left. Sorry, not what we have left, but what do we have total? Okay, what did we end up with altogether? How many times did I strum that guitar? So 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then we got 1, 2, and 3. If I add these together, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So the answer would be 7. Now we're going to practice a few more of these in group today, but just to review again really quick, plus sign, line goes up and down, and then it's got a line crossing it sideways. And equal signs are two lines that are parallel. And then a number model is actually a number plus sign, number, and then an equal sign with an answer at the very end. So we'll talk more about this in small groups, but this was just to get you introduced to number models with an addition sign and an equal sign.